"Crucify him."
Pilate said,
"Do you want me to crucify your king?"
The chief priests answered,
"We have no king except Caesar."
Pilate handed him over to them to be crucified. They then took charge of Jesus, and carrying his own cross, he went out of the city to the place of the skull, or as it is called in Hebrew, Golgotha, where they crucified him with two others, one on either side, with Jesus in the middle. Pilate wrote out a notice and had it fixed to the cross. It ran, "Jesus the Nazarene, King of the Jews." This notice was read by many of the Jews, because the place where Jesus was crucified was not far from the city, and the writing was in Hebrew, Latin, and Greek. So the Jewish chief priests said to Pilate,
"You should not write King of the Jews, but this man said, 'I am King of the Jews.'"
Pilate answered,
"What I have written, I have written."
When the soldiers had finished crucifying Jesus, they took his clothing and divided it into 4 shares, one for each soldier. His undergarment was seamless, woven in one piece from neck to hem. So they said to one another,
"Instead of tearing it, let's throw dice to decide who is to have it."
In this way, the words of the scripture were fulfilled. They shared out my clothing among them. They cast lots for my clothes. This is exactly what the soldiers did. Near the cross of Jesus stood his mother and his mother's sister, Mary the wife of Clopas and Mary of Magdala. Seeing his mother and the disciple he loved standing near her, Jesus said to his mother,
"Woman, this is your son."
Then to the disciple he said,
"This is your mother."
And from that moment the disciple made a place for her in his home. After this, Jesus knew that everything now was completed, and to fulfill the scripture perfectly, he said,
"I am thirsty."
A jar of vinegar stood there, so putting a sponge soaked in vinegar on a hyssop stick, they held it up to his mouth. And after Jesus had taken the vinegar, he said,
"It is accomplished."
And bowing his head, he gave up the spirit. It was preparation day, and to prevent the bodies remaining on the cross, and so instead of breaking his legs, one of the soldiers pierced his side with a lance,